Welcome to Arcana Tower's tarot-themed board game tutorial. Today we'll be covering the basics of how to play a complete game of Arcana Towers 2-player.
Objective. The objective of the game is to have 11 towers first, or to have the most towers on the board when the yellow deck runs out. A player draws a single yellow card whenever they place a royalty card, a knight, queen, king, or page, into its appropriate court on the board. The player with the most towers and stones wins. When there are no more cards left in the yellow deck, one additional closing round is taken by each player. The player who draws the last yellow card goes last. Ultimately, you win the game by getting points, which are represented by stones and towers. A stack of 11 stones is worth 1 tower. 11 towers wins the game.
For simplicity's sake, I have chosen to do a 2-player tutorial rather than a 3 or 4, just to show the flow of turns more efficiently. Let's get to it. We'll start with setup. To begin, each player selects their elemental tile. This determines which element you are and what ability you get. It also determines what board you put on the table. Players may randomly select their elemental tile or choose by preference. This is a 2-player configuration. One player has chosen the element of earth, and the other player has chosen the element of fire. Let's focus on what it takes to set up each individual player. These are the components required for each player. A. 2 dice. These dice go from 0 to 11 and keep track of the number of towers you possess. There is 1 red die and 1 black die. Place them on the board according to color. If you possess a total between the 2 dice equaling 11, you win the game. 11 towers wins the game. Place both dice with the 0 facing up, since you start the game with 0 towers. Next up, we have component B, stones, found in the area of F, the quarry. You should have 2 stacks of stones, 1 red and 1 black, placed on the board according to color. You should have 11 stones in each stack. 1 full stack equals a tower. For now, to begin, we start with 2 stacks of stones, 1 black and 1 red, placed in the quarry according to color. Next up, we have component C, the board itself. The board corresponds to the color of the elemental tile. In this case, this player uses fire. Place your 2 stacks of stones and your 2 dice on the board in this configuration. Lastly, we have component E. Each player shuffles their 8 color-coded elemental cards and places them face down in the central square on the board. These cards fuel the power found on your elemental tile. Now your personal board is ready for play. Area N and the court areas are left empty. They will be filled during gameplay. Let's go over the rest of the board and get ready to start the game. Before starting, each player should have the same pieces set up on their board respectively. This is true for 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will continue on with 2 players. Now it's time to get out the cards. Shuffle the red deck of cards and place it face down in area H. Whoever is setting up the board draws 3 red cards and places them face up in area G. This is called the forum. We are almost ready to start. Shuffle the yellow deck of cards and place it face down in area I. You should know that when the last yellow card is drawn in the game, this signals 1 last round for each player. At the end of these last rounds, whichever player has the most towers and then stones wins the game. If a player reaches 11 towers before this happens, they win the game automatically. 11 towers wins the game. The remainder of the areas left that I have not yet explained are left empty. They will serve as discard piles throughout gameplay. Reference the rule document for a description of each discard pile and their purpose. You are now ready to begin.